Hello, guys, and welcome back to X-tricated. It's your favorite podcast host, KB, and with me here is my sidekick, DDB, and a special
Drum rolls,
addition,
please. Drum rolls, drum rolls, drum
a
rolls.
special addition to our episode today, Zubeida. Say hi.
Hi. Hi, guys.
So Zubeida is good. She's our new co-host. At least for today.
Are you okay?
Today's her interview. So she's going to be part of the show today, and then she's going to show her skills.
Yeah.
So today's episode
It's
is...
better, wait. It's better. You being bullied to this.
Yes, no, I am, obviously. But anyway, I'm still waiting for my payment in dollars, so yeah.
So how many dollars are you being paid for this?
No, I can't say that's confidential.
Oh, okay.
She's an intern, and as we know, interns don't get paid. So I don't know what she's talking about.
You see, this is one of the things I say, I'm being bullied. How can I be your intern, please?
You see the reason why me and him used to fight, right? I'm the one that gets bullied all the time.
You see, he was
Zubaida is now feeling the heat. But anyway,
he was about to cast himself just now, but it's all right. So the elections, that's the presidential election anyway, has come and gone.
Finally.
And we have a declared winner, even though the case is going to be contested in court, but it's Nigeria. We know what to expect. I mean, there's a very small chance that the court might rule in favor of the people that are complaining, but then it's still very unlikely, right? So we need to get it in our mind that Tinubu is now our president, or well, he's the president-elect for now, sure.
The Agbado government.
Agbado.
Okay, the Agbado government. Is that not how to pronounce it, Zuri?
I don't know.
Pronounce it unless...
No, you want me to disgrace myself? No. Just say it anyhow. They will shall understand.
Anyway, so the Agbado government is here. And so what are we going to expect from that government? We took a deep dive into his plan of action, his policy documents, and we noted a few things. So I think we're going to first of all start with security.
Yeah.
So David.
No. I'm not interested in that security. KB has more input on that.
Okay.
And then we'll see what Zubi has, or what Zubi has to say, or what KB says.
Okay. So a lot of things have been said about security, but I noted a few things, and the first is that he wants to recruit more people. I think everybody knows this already, at least maybe not to the tune of what he announced during his campaign.
KB said, is it 50 million?
Yeah, he said it was 50 million.
KB said, is it 50 million? But there was something very glaring inside his manifesto. He kept talking about 130 million Nigerians that are between 15 and 35.
Yes.
Okay.
So maybe that 50 million that he's talking about might not be far-fetched. I mean,
50 million inside security. I don't understand.
I mean, except it's a dictatorship, it doesn't make any sense. But I did assume that he might have made a mistake. Maybe he was trying to say 50,000 youths, recruit them into the army or whatever. Anyway, he did say that he wants to increase the size of the force. And aside from that, he also talked about the wage structure. He's going to review the wage structure of the military and then provide them with more welfare opportunities, make sure that healthcare is a given. And if they get injured in battle, that it's always guaranteed that they are going to get the best medical attention, and the families also are going to get some form of allowances, and the children of the army officer or military officer get access to scholarships and other things. Also, he talked about the police, repositioning the police.
Yeah, that was actually very interesting too.
Yes. Talking about police brutality. So they said during the 2020 NSAS stuff, a lot of people were talking about police carrying AK-47s
Yeah,
and all that.
guns, yeah.
You know, carrying specialized weapons that should be given to people that are fighting in wars, and then using them to bully citizens. So he's talking about removing those weapons from the hands of police officers and giving them non-lethal weapons, maybe pepper spray.
And bats. And bats. You know, we can actually name the bats for policemen. The bats.
No, please.
Because they
We
wear black
already
clothes.
we already know it. We already know it as Kondo or Lopa, so nothing like that again.
The Batmen. The Batmen of BAT.
Okay, but jokes aside, non-lethal weapons can include things like tasers, for example.
Yeah.
You know, to make sure that an angry police officer is not going to like just whip out a gun and shoot at a person without even knowing whether they are guilty or not. You understand? So it's part of what he's talking about, and then also he wants to pull them away from guarding VIPs
that
and politicians.
repositioning,
Yeah. So he wants to pull them away from that and then redirect that duty to the NSCDC, that's the Civil Defense Corps. So
But I actually like that because it gives more relevance to the NSCDC.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it gives them more relevance because I think they keep complaining of the fact that they are not being more involved, like
in security processes,
processes and all that. And this would give them that.
Yes, and you know that a lot of Nigerians have also complained that the best of our police officers are the ones being given to these VIPs as security detail. So those guys wouldn't be there to respond to calls of, let's say, maybe a bank robbery, let's say a gang terrorizing a community, something that they can easily put under control. They won't be present for that. Yeah, having the best trained police officers just following some dude up and down. I mean, I guess it's a really good idea if it can be implemented. It's a really good one.
But I think he's going to face fights from the Senate. He's going to face a fight from the Senate, a huge one. And I don't think he's going to win.
No Martin anyways.
I don't think he's going to win. Do you think he's going to win?
If they gang up against him, I don't think he will. But there is a no Martin.
Exactly.
We used to go back and forth.
But do you think he will win? Because maybe he's Jagaban.
If he play his cards well, maybe he will
The
win.
likelihood of them ganging up against him is actually very low.
Really?
Even if they
Well,
do,
he will win, sir.
he will win.
He will win.
like
Is it
you
not?
said.
Is it not him? He will win. He will win.
Okay, so that's it. I think that's it about security. Those are the main things I noted when it came to. Okay, he also said something about rangers and forest guards. You understand? He wants to revive that. I didn't know that we even had that. To
We
start
do have
with.
that. We do have that.
I never knew that we had that. So he wants to revive it, and that's a really, really good one if it's going to be implemented too. Like I said, to protect our forests. This forest and basically nature areas are places where maybe bandits, kidnappers can use as their hideout. So if you have people constantly monitoring those areas, they will make sure that they can snuff out those guys before they even start anything. And also you can provide security to people who want to go there, maybe for recreation and stuff.
It's more like solving the problem from its root cause.
Yes.
Yeah, again, like that. That's really good. We're going to come to monetary policy. I think you're going to like that. But well, let's even talk about it. Right? Why not? Right?
Yeah, the one that's going to like that.
Why? Because he keep talking about fiscal strategy, fiscal policy inside this manifesto. Right? There's something they quote that I picked out. Their fiscal strategy is to spend public money in a way that maximizes employment of people and resources, especially those previously idle. So he has this thought process of people being idle, and people that are being idle, they cannot contribute to the economy. So why don't you give them something so that they will not be idle? So how are you going to do it? It's not by dashing them money. It's not by just giving handouts, right? It's by giving them money.
Job opportunities.
Yes, job opportunities, but not just job opportunities, but opportunities to actually go and lend, right? After lending, You don't just learn for anything. You learn to actually start up a business,
Yes.
start up something that's going to bring back to the economy. You understand? And this has gone into the theme. You mentioned, and the fiscal policy, that's basically monetary policy for him, is based on three things, three pillars, right? The exchange rate, the interest rates, and the price level. What's it called? Price levels. Now, I think this is where power purchasing parity comes into play. There's something that you talked about, exportation and importation.
Yes.
earlier.
Because Nigeria will produce a lot of raw materials, be it from agriculture or other means or crude oil. So our current focus is exportation of those materials. You know, we export them, and then when we import, we are importing finished products that are very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So at that point, you are losing money, and then you won't have enough money to basically run the government through a year.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make any sense. So you have to actually attract maybe those people that are going to refine those products for you, attract them down to this country, let them set up their industries here.
Yes.
Then, you know, they give job opportunities too, and then make sure that those things are going to be provided cheaper, you understand, to the Nigerian public. And then there are strategies for doing that.
Yeah, like it's very, very important. He talked about in the industrial policy. He talked about the fact that they are going to make sure that they invest into people. Like still that idle, idle mentality. Give people loans, but then they're giving people loans because they want to actually make money. So whatever project they're going to go into, they're going to make sure that it brings money right away, so that project pays back the debt that it brings, foreign currency, right? It brings back the money itself. So, for example, let's say we have a dam project, for example, right? And it's generating power. So, and it's making money from generating power, right? And they spend money to make sure that dam works, right? So, the money that we make from the dam and the power generation is what will pay back the loan for that particular project that was you understand? So I like that aspect. You understand?
Of course.
I like that aspect.
Sounds like capitalism.
That's yes, it is capitalism. But he mentioned this whole public-private partnership thing, which means that there's going to be a third party in between the government and this, and it has been implemented. He talked about how Lagos and Kaduna have implemented a lot of things inside this manifesto.
I mean, maybe that's why he wants El-Rufai close.
Yeah.
Because he noticed that maybe his approach to management of Kaduna
it has actually worked.
Is quite similar to what he wants to do.
It's actually working in Kaduna, right? So if you look at it at the end of the day, right, there's something that was very, very interesting. Yeah, he said when it comes to exchange rate, he said diminished levels of oil production and modest capacity of our manufacturing sector, it keeps compounding pressure on the naira.
Yes,
you understand, and it's something else. You understand? So how are you going to do that? Back to where you talked about export and import, right? Why not create internally generated revenue, right? Ourselves, we produce something, we consume it, we process it ourselves, because it's more like
demand and consumption.
Yes, we create it, we consume it, we create it, we consume
this
it.
was coming to my head. I know it's not going to be possible anyway. But how I wish they'll make it like a mandatory each state, because Nigeria we have vast amounts of mineral resources. Okay, each state, what's your own mineral? So what are you good at, or what's your state good at? I don't know, maybe it won't be like a competition, but obviously but maybe something like that, and then you'll be like, okay, in each state, what can your mineral resources you produce to the to give back to the country. So that you doing that, at least you used to be employed somehow. And then when you have a finishing product, and then we'll just be like exchanging product within the states. You understand that kind of scenario?
I like that.
It's not what your country can do for you. It's what you can do
for your country.
Exactly.
Who said that? Jeff Kennedy, right?
I think so.
But I know then it's all in our heads. It's not really happening.
No, but he actually mentioned that not in the way that you mentioned it. Like he mentioned it in a way that every state will have autonomy. for certain things. But what you just mentioned now is a level up, because you're just creating like that kind of dependency on each. Like everyone is on their own, but you depend on each other
instead of these imports and exports.
Exactly, and that's what they are trying to. That's what he is saying that he wants to like improve, and that will actually help. Really, it actually help because it's going to actually stop the amount of stuff we import, and to make sure that happens in the industrial policy, for example, that he said in the northeast, there's going to be textile hubs, just to revitalize the textile industry in the country. In the southeast, right, he's going to empower people so that he can give employment and all that. When it comes to heavy production, manufacturing, processing, you understand? Then agriculture, very, very important. But before we go into agriculture, let's go into healthcare system. There's something that he mentioned, right? And Zubaida actually wants your opinion on this, like full opinion.
Stop putting me on the spotlight, please.
Okay. Alright, so let's he said that he's going to try and in the next what's it called? 25 before 2025, I think 2 years time, he's going to make sure that over 40% of Nigerians are going to be insured.
Medically or what?
Yeah, medically.
Okay, medically.
Yeah, medically. How is that possible, Zubaida?
I'll repeat what I told you before.
Because, by the way, everybody that does not know Zubaida, she's in insurance. Right? She's into insurance.
Okay, we're looking at me like that.
She doesn't want me to hype her, but I want to hype her. I want to hype her. She works with.
You bore your listeners, please.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, let me know hyper. Anyway,
like I told you before.
Yes.
I think it's going to be possible that if he invests the time and the resources, it might be possible. Because let's just leave the private sector, because more like the private sector have their own guidelines. They are on their own technically, and then they can pass their own process
private
of
hospitals, right?
Yes, they can have their own NHIS or how they want to ever do it. But then let's look at the public hospital. Most people attend public hospitals very well, especially let's say the less privileged community.
Yeah.
They are mostly, or you go to federal hospital, you be like, you go follow Qtire, and then also like at least many people. So at least invest there. Make sure almost everyone have and working insurance. It's not that you have your insurance and medical whatever it is, but then it's not active, or then the money you are paying is not even. So let's say, for example, your bill is 100k. Instead of your bill to be at least 50k, but then maybe you say your bill is around maybe 70, 80, but at least slash the price, but then make sure everyone has their card. But then also the premium that is going to be paid, make sure it's affordable. Because if it's not affordable, many people will not register to have it.
Especially the less privileged.
Yes, especially the less privileged. Because obviously the ones that are privileged enough, they don't mind paying huge amounts of premium for their benefits. Okay. So at least show them the importance of having medical insurance. At least it's for their own benefits. Yeah, helping because if you really care about the poor people in Nigeria, that's the best you can do for them. Reduce the premium.
It should be targeted at them, right?
Yeah, and then most of them are coming sick.
Favor them.
And most of them are really sick, and they don't have enough money to, go to the hospital or something. They prefer to stay in their house and die like that, because they can't afford to pay bills, or they'll be asking people for donations. At least give them something that they are patriotic about their country.
There are some people that will come to the hospital as the medical doctors that have to, put between themselves to put some medical bills.
You
understand? So the NHIS has to be very, very friendly to the less privileged, because it's still them that will most likely go for it. People who have advantage wouldn't go for NHIS most likely. They already have HMOs that they depend on.
And I think people that are privileged actually will go to private sector.
Private sector. Even though the private sector also have their own, but at least focus more on the government hospital because that's where most of the less privileged attend.
Okay.
At least do something for them. To be patriotic about Nigeria and needs.
So that they'll say, yeah, I love my country. My country is
at least they did something for me. Even if you are going to collect their money, shall do something for them.
That's true. Makes sense. Makes sense. Let's say education. Apart from the insurance, right? Honestly, that's the only thing to write about the health sector when it comes to.
He never really talked about anything.
Exactly. You see, healthcare system, the educational system.
The
educational system. The only thing that you talked about is the student loans.
Sorry, even considering that. Okay, now I said something about medical doctors putting their money together to foot bills of patients that cannot pay, and you still have in those situations, especially because they are government hospitals, there are doctors that have not received salaries, doctors that had been threatening to go on strike because of non-payment of salaries and all that, and they are still the ones that will be squeezing from their pockets.
Exactly.
So that's something that should be addressed, I think. But I don't think it was not addressed. They didn't talk about the salary structure of doctors, improved welfare for them and all those type of things. So
these are doctors for crying out loud. So do something for them.
Thank you. Do you know that the hazard allowance for a medical doctor is not up to 50,000 naira?
Voila.
Do you know that?
Super too low.
A hazard allowance for a medical doctor is not up to 50,000 naira. Just imagine. So
when I can be in my hospital and somebody with Ebola will come and start spraying blood up and down, and they're not paying me up to 50,000 for hazard allowance.
And you're putting them on the front line. KB, what do you think of these student loans and everything? It's like, by the way, there's a pattern to this manifesto. Loans, 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 and loans.
Hey, I don't like this loan thing. I don't like this loan thing sounding.
He kept talking about loans, loans, and loans
there was a
in
portion.
Every single part of this thing, because they're going to keep lending and lending and lending, and
so they suck you dry.
That's not even yes, they suck you dry, but if you look at it, we talked about the economic machine. I talked about debt cycles.
Yes,
it's really at the moment Nigeria is not in a good state when it comes to debt profile and debt cycle, and interest rates are not low right now. So how are you going to do it? Which means you have to stimulate the economy, and if you stimulate the economy,
you have to lower interest rates. So more people can borrow.
And that's what he's saying. They're going to allow more people to borrow. So you're putting the country in a lot of debt.
Yes.
You're going to also make sure that there's going to be a crash in the economy. A lot of people are going to suffer. You understand? So at the end of the day, I think this student loans thing, apart from this student loans thing, I was in support of it some episodes ago.
It's a 50-50 thing, actually.
Exactly. So you're going to gain from it, but at the end of the day,
paying it will suck you.
And depending on how, and it's not even that, it's not that everybody is even has access. It's kind of access. Yeah. It's not everybody has access to this loan, because based on what he's saying now, like there's going to be like a maximum amount that you're going to loan, and even the loan, there must be a provision of how you can pay it back. So people that do not have collateral might not be able to get loans. So at the end of the day, there's going to be a big gulf inside this what's called between the poor, the rich,
and the middle class.
Middle class in Nigeria. That's just it.
For me, I think that first of all, when you introduce that student loan thing, it partially solves the problem of the education system, which is having the universities run themselves, right? Universities cannot run themselves if they don't have funds. And for now, the place they can get funds from is to increase tuition fees. Now, if you increase tuition fees, how many people are like a lot of people are living? There are a lot of people are living below poverty line at the moment. Finding it hard,
like funding themselves. It's not even their parents that are even funding them.
They're finding it hard to pay for school fees right now.
Yeah,
as it's cheap. So what will it be like when
we are paying 100K and above? Like,
you understand? I mean, there are some schools that have been paying at that price, especially state universities for years now.
Yeah.
You go to universities like LASU, universities like even
they only
Abia
have
State
that kind of standard
University.
since, and then when you're entering, you have that mentality. Okay,
Yeah,
yes,
that you
I
know that okay, this place is for strong people. Though.
Yes.
You
You
understand?
don't know that you're already running on a low something, and then once boom, you just increase.
You just increased it. Yeah.
Yes.
You understand?
It will run a lot of people out of the school system. To be honest,
Yeah.
I mean, I did hear that some people could not continue in Kaduna State University when they drove up their tuition fees.
I think tuition fees over 150 now at the moment. Over 150,000.
I mean, you can imagine it's still not as expensive as let's say like last one Absolute I just mentioned.
Yeah.
But then that surprise increase is going to like send some people, especially in northern Nigeria, where you still have to try to encourage people to go to school.
And then you're even increasing.
So here is another thing about it.
I think we actually talked about this solution. We talked about the solution of this.
A solution?
Yeah, to this. Like you can increase the school fees, right? Tuition fees.
It is a solution, but then it is a bit. I know that it's a bit crazy, even though I came up with that idea. I know that it's a bit crazy, but then you can have universities that have the high tuition fees.
Yeah.
I mean, for the elites and whatnot. But then you can have, let's say, maybe like state universities or something, for example,
colleges, Federal College of Education.
Yeah, exactly.
And then what's it called? Polytechnics.
They can be converted into like something like the community college system in America.
Yes.
You understand? So those ones can provide a cheaper form of education, even albeit at least.
But then
it gives to a certain standard.
Yeah, but then it gives what's it called, the federal government to actually focus on this polytechnics and Federal College of Education to give them like the amount of funding that they need so that they can give them quality
to
education.
Cater to people that cannot pay for this.
Exactly. So that can be a solution.
It's a possible solution, but then still something that
there are gaping holes to that. There are gaping holes to that.
So another thing about the loan is that maybe it might encourage people not to go to school anymore. Let me rephrase that. Not to think that school is the only way out. Let me put it that way. Because imagine paying student loans, you graduate, you don't have a job, and you create a job for yourself eventually, and then you're now paying off student loans. It's going to be annoying. I mean, if you think about it, if you think about the situation, I'm like, okay, why don't I just drop out and start a business, right? As long as you know that business can be very, very profitable. You're going to solve a real world problem. You can always go and start that business. When you
don't blow, you come back and continue school.
Exactly. That's just it.
That's if you come back.
That's if you come back. Because at the end of the day,
I'll not come back.
Then I mentioned agriculture, right? When it comes to agriculture, so we mentioned I think after the episode after Saudi Arabia Vision 2030, right? We mentioned the fact that out of Nigeria's land, for only 40% is arid. Only 80-something% of the land that we have in Nigeria can be used for agriculture, and out of that is only 40% that is arable. Now, this 40%, what I mean by arable is that it can be used for agricultural purposes at the moment, and out of that 40%, only 35% is being cultivated upon.
Percentages.
I'm telling you, like out of 40%, only 35% is being cultivated upon, right? And that is so low, and they talked about raising it up to 60-something percent, 65% by 2025. Now, how are they going to do that? What they're going to do is that they're going to cut down trees, they're going to clear land, right? And when they clear land, they're going to provide loans to rural, people, so that they can actually farm, right? Now, after they do that, they're also going to provide opportunities for processing plants near these farms, right?
So that when we produce corn, we'll be able to process them.
Yeah, process them, manufacture, and create
We eat
finished products.
masara, isn't it?
Exactly, the Agbado.
Hello.
So I like.
You are trying to pronounce this thing for me.
I'm not a Yoruba guy, because Yoruba people. I'm sorry. Yeah. But anyway, I actually like this because we actually need that in this country. That's one thing that is actually holding our agricultural industry back, because we do not have processing plants, we do not have manufacturing plants that are going to help us create finished products. Okay, because we produce a lot of ginger, we produce a lot of corn, a lot of beans, a lot of tomatoes, right? But even rice, but we cannot have correct finished products that are of quality standard.
That you can even export.
Yes. So why don't you create that? Right? When you have that, and one thing that he mentioned that I like there is that it's not that the government is going to provide that, the processing plant. It's people that are going to actually that. So which means they're going to have certain sectors of the land where they're going to allow people to actually come and farm, but bid from the government to actually get this processing plant. So you're going to buy, okay, what are you going to do with the land close to the farm? Okay, I'm going to create a processing plant. Like you're going to give you, hands down, because that's what they are looking for. You get, so that now the processing plant are going to be closer to the farms, not that they're going to be far away from the farms. You understand? Yes. So that makes sense. It's going to help a whole lot when it comes to the agriculture. But 2 years, okay, no, it was the cutting down and clearing of land that is 2 years. But then after the 4th year, that I think that's when they are going to do that. But it's going to take time. It's not a one tenure thing. I think it's after the 4th year that they might be able to like bring in processing plant and all that. But it's a good thing. It take time to come about that. And empowerment, political, one highlight again, political empowerment for youths. So they said they're going to, in the cabinet, they're going to give at least 3 people under the age of 40.
And I don't think it's enough.
A cabinet position, right? I
don't think it's enough.
40, like at least 3 people, right? And then under 40, and then at least 6 people under 50. So the question is, how many people are in the cabinet? Or are meant to be in the cabinet? That's the question.
There are about 44 ministers. That's if you include ministers of state. The regular ministers, I think they're like 24 right now. Although who knows, it might even expand. You know that President Buhari actually cut down ministries when he came in. He combined them, he cut them, those type of things. So maybe they will be re-expanded again under Tinubu's administration. So we don't know. They say they are reserving.
Honestly, at least 3 is small. For people under 40 is really small.
It's really small, but then I mean, let us see how it goes.
But they said at least. So benefit of the doubt.
It could be 3, it could be 10.
It could be 3, it could be 10, it could be 5,
it could be 40.
In your dreams.
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Your dreams.
Have some faith.
You have faith. 40. Well,
the important thing is bringing people who are going to be able to work.
Yeah.
It's not about bringing youths.
That's actually true.
You should bring youths that can work. If the most qualified person there is a 60-something-year-old man, then fine and good.
Yeah.
As long as the person can deliver the task,
competent.
So it doesn't really matter at that point. But then, if you reserve a certain quota for youths, I think it's a good start, even though it's still like,
it's actually a good start.
It's a good start, right? But then it's quite small. It's quite small, but then it's a good start. We start from somewhere.
This is my prayer, right? I hope and I pray that Erufai is his chief of staff. I was talking about this with my parents, right? My dad is in support of Erufai being the chief of staff. My mom is not. She's really praying that it is not. Why? Because we kept trying to explain to her the fact that whatever he has done so far in Kaduna was the right thing to do. Yes, he might not have given options for people when he gave the rules for, let's say, when he demolished their houses, right? I said he's going to do something there, right? So he gave them 6 months notice. Everybody knew on 6 months notice, but then he didn't give them options. More like what this guy did, Shetima did in Borno. Okay, you're in Boko Haram have like invaded your what's it called, local government and your households. You come to Borno, come to Maiduguri, the capital, and then I have built estates for you. Come and enter, right? But he did not provide that. You understand? He did not provide. You're on your own.
Options.
Yes, you are just on your own, right? And that's the problem.
Highly unpopular move at the time.
It was highly unpopular. I didn't think he provided those options. I don't think people are going to actually talk about it. But guess what, right? Kaduna at that point didn't have the money to actually provide that. You understand? It was not an insecurity problem where he can go to the government and say, I need 60 billion naira to create estates. He gave for people. You understand, right? But still, he did not provide options. That's just it. Had even he was empathetic a little bit, Kaduna wouldn't have been it. Because he's doing whatever he's doing. And guess what? His cabinets are comprised of people that are actually competent and have brain, and they are very young. Very, very young.
Yes, that's true.
Very, very young. And there's this thing that he created, Kashim Ibrahim Fellowship. Like this Kashim Shetima Kashim Ibrahim Fellowship, right? This Kashim Ibrahim Fellowship is actually creating leaders. And guess what? He's actually putting them into advisory role for the governor. Right? And that is grooming people to actually become leaders. Right? I've had conversation with some of them. Some of them have scholarships to go outside and actually study after their 1 year mandatory problem. Yes, problem. They have 1 year mandatory fellowship with Kashim Ibrahim, and they get the experience and they go out there, right? That's really good. And yeah, I think for me that's the highlight. That's the highlights for basically everything that the Agbado regime has for us.
That is so sad.
Yeah, there are some positives, there are some negatives, right? But the positives are the loans, the negatives are still the loans at the same time. So, positive and negatives are still loans, right? It's too much. It's too much. The loans are too much. But they are good, right? But they are...
there was a line where he said that currently the country is limiting its spending ability, and then that's not allowing it to develop. So, how is it going to delimit it? By you cannot bring out money out of thin air, except maybe once a bring. He's going to stimulate.
That's what I just said now. He's going to stimulate the economy. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, loans are like bringing money out of thin air, but then, or except he wants to, donate all this plenty money for us.
So, anyway, do you think it's going to be a positive one?
So,
it's a punt. Who knows? It can go well. It can
go
bad. Very, very bad.
We just have to close our eyes and pray.
That's just it. Honestly, that's just it, because
we can't put. If you expect anything, it's disappointed. I'll follow it too. So
for me, as I said, I think I believe. I just have this weird feeling that his administration is actually going to be good. Maybe not for everybody, because for me,
exactly, amen for that. I want to enjoy in this country, and because we are stuck with that. So let us.
Because for me, I feel
pray that is good.
As someone that is into capitalism, but not completely into capitalism, I think if you're that, I think you're going to enjoy. But for the pure poor people, like honestly, less privileged, I hardly think they're going to enjoy his tenure.
Yes,
that's
very true.
Yeah.
I hardly think. But the middle class and anything middle class and above, I think they're going to enjoy it. But anything below
the
middle
bottom,
class,
but then we do things for the masses now.
Anything below middle class, I don't think they're going to enjoy it. That's basically my own verdict. So yeah, guys, it's a wrap from us, and this is Breda. Thank you very much. So how did you feel?
Just let me make one comment first.
Okay.
Give me something like that.
How am I looking at her?
Maybe not talk what's in my mind. Anyway, so those of us that always listen to KB's voice, I'm like, oh, I want to see this guy. He has a nice voice, blah blah blah. Whoa, all I can say is meeting him in person is worth hearing his voice. So don't feel yourself. Don't feel yourself right now.
It's worth. She said worth.
See, that's what I really wanted to say.
She's happy for you.
So this is the first time I met him. See this one.
You guys have to see him right now.
I like the interactive session anyways. It's intellectual. It makes you think far and beyond. So yeah.
Oh,
you should not feel yourself.
That's a wrap. Bye. There's nothing I can say after this. The brother has just finished me. Bye bye.